Okay, today I'm going to talk about cleaning semi-automatics. This is a Glock 17, it's already been stripped down. This is a video on weapon cleaning, not on stripping and assembling. But before you go to clean a firearm, before you go to strip a firearm, make sure it's unloaded. Some of you might say that's basic, but a lot of accidents happen. Always check to make sure the weapon's unloaded before you attempt to strip it, before you attempt to clean it. Okay, this is a Glock 17. I'm using this as an example because Glocks, you find them everywhere these days. We'll start off with the frame. You can see this is a little bit dirty. It's been wiped out a little bit, but it's had a couple hundred rounds through it before the last thorough cleaning. To start off with this, I would wipe her out with a rag. If necessary, use a plastic brush to get the little bit more, little bits of brass, little bits of gunk out, little bits of carbon. If I'm going to go more in depth, then I use a Q-tip and I can get in all the grooves and get all that gunk out. When you finish cleaning, the gun should be clean. You shouldn't see any dirt. My training guns I'm not too fussy about. My carry guns, I would say they're still up to British Army standard. Okay, the recoil spring, use your plastic brush. Any gunk in there, get it out. The barrel. Pay special attention to the feed ramp because you get a buildup of carbon there. To get that off, you can use your wire brush, give that a good scrubbing. Or use your Scotch-Brite and again, give it a good scrubbing. End of the barrel as well, give that a good scrubbing, get all the gunk out. Now, the barrel itself, use your wire brush, use your barrel brush, give it a pull through. And give it a good scrub out. If you had hard use, give it a good scrubbing out. Then put a dry cloth patch down the barrel. After you see that's still dirty, after you've put a dry cloth patch down there, change the patch around, put a lightly oiled cloth patch down there, and make sure that barrel's got a nice layer of oil in there. The slide, all the way through here, you're going to get gunk. Clean it out. Do so with a rag, if necessary a plastic brush, or again get your Q-tip in there and get all the gunk out. Yeah? You see, it's loaded. Face of the breech, you're going to get a buildup of carbon there. Glocks are easy to clean because they're nice and open, so you get your wire brush in there, give it a good scrub out. If necessary on something like a CZ, get a piece of Scotch-Brite and put it in there and give it a good rubbing. It's easier to get into the little nooks and crannies. Yeah? So, there should be no carbon, there should be no brass, there should be no gunk. Magazines, I'll talk about how to clean magazines in the next video. After the gun has been cleaned, oil it. And I've heard people say you don't over-oil Glocks, etc. It's a machine. Guns are machines. Oil them. If you're in a temperate climate, the gun's dry, okay, you don't have to oil them too much. If you're in a wet, humid environment, oil the gun. If you're working around salt water, oil the gun. If you're in extreme conditions, freezing conditions, etc., yeah, special lubricant supply, but I'm not particularly worried about that today. But generally, I make sure my guns are well oiled. On the Glock, there's only 4 points of contact with the slide and frame, but you've still got working parts in here. Make sure everything's oiled. The barrel, I generally put a few shots of oil on the barrel. Also, the barrel's been pulled through and is lubricated. Wherever there's working parts, oil. Wherever there's going to be any friction, oil. If I'd sooner have an overalled gun that shoots than a dry gun that's rusted, that's corroded. And again, if you're in humid environments such as the tropics, it doesn't take long. You get a little bit of moisture, a little bit of sweat on that gun, it's going to rust. Now, for you guys that shoot CZs, that carry CZs, SIGs, 1911s, etc., another thing to take into consideration is under the grip. This is one of my carry guns, it's the CZ75. I like the older, heavier steel guns. When I clean this, I open up the grip and I clean under the grip. The reason being, if you're carrying this, you're going to get moisture and sweat under the grip. I've got some grip tape on here, so don't worry about that. So again, moisture and sweat gets under here, so wipe the gun down and put a seal of oil around there to stop moisture getting in there. This is where, if you're buying a second handgun and it's got removable grips, always check under the grips. A lot of people clean their weapons, clean the guns, but they don't clean under the grip. So you open up some second hand guns, well, guns people have been carrying and not cleaning, all this is corroded. Yeah? So if you're carrying a gun with removable grips, make sure you clean under the grips. If you're buying a gun, second hand gun with removable grips, make sure you check under the grips. Yeah? So that's a few little pointers on how to clean the semi-automatic. They're simple. How often should you clean the gun? Well, you should clean it after every time you shoot it. My training guns I'm not too worried about. My carry guns, I clean them after every time I shoot them. If I'm not shooting the weapon, if it's hanging around, if it's on my nightstand in the drawer, etc., then I want to be looking at that weapon, cleaning it at least once every 2 weeks to make sure it's serviceable, changing the rounds around in the magazine, etc. Yeah, if you're carrying the weapon on a daily basis, you should be checking it on a daily by daily basis. That's some basic information. If you have any questions, send me an email, give me a call, etc., etc. Cheers.